I'm Elle, and I am the Bacon Champion. It's true. You really gotta stop being so upset. It's okay. How's your belly? Alright? Okay.
You are watching the Read Pile.
It's the week of September 3rd. Yes, it's September already.
Good. Year's over. Death. Winter. All is sadness.
And here's some comic book news you can use.
Okay, so we confirmed today. It is the 3rd. We shoot this on the 3rd.
Yeah.
Confirmation. The Rock is he's Black Adam. We knew he was going to be Black Adam. He's
He doesn't know how to keep secrets.
no. So that's something.
Yeah, there you
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. You know, here's the thing.
Huh?
You forgot to talk about something last week.
That's right. You're right. You know what? That's bigger. That's bigger. No.
You were in head cold coma.
Yeah, first I was in a head cold coma, then I got kicked in the head cold, so that was nice.
Yeah.
I neglected to mention last week something that I will be discussing further in our Nerd Up Media podcast, Those Two Jerks, if you want to check that out. Synergy. So, Donald Glover,
Okay.
Childish Gambino, he's on Community, he's awesome. A couple years ago, he took a photo of himself essentially as Spider-Man. He's like, wouldn't it be cool if I was Spider-Man? And the internet freaked out like, oh god, we can't have a black guy as Spider-Man, oh that's crazy. And then Andrew Garfield got to be Spider-Man, and blah, 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 blah. Fast forward to right now, I, last week, before Senior Head Cold came and dropped ye old elbow on the top of my head,
Yeah.
I saw a news story, and I clicked on it because the news story said, Childish Gambino cast as Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales at that. And I freaked out because I'm like, I'm not a big fan of Ultimate Spider-Man, but this is cool, and it's going to be another movie, and how awesome is that? Here's the problem, though. When you click on it, you find out he's the voice of Miles Morales in an upcoming episode of Ultimate Spider-Man the cartoon. That made me angry. And I know normally you're the one who's mad. So this is kind of like a weird role reversal, but you know what? Maybe getting knocked in the brainial all last week kind of reminded me that maybe I can be upset about things too. But, despite my better judgment, how do you feel about this?
I don't care. I don't care.
About any of that?
I guess The Rock's cool. I'll go back to that.
Let's read reviews.
Alright, time for comic book reviews. So this week's read pile, pretty interesting. Kinda. I'm going to start with Grayson. Not just Grayson, but Grayson's Future End. I love Grayson. I love the series that I'm currently reading. Hate Future Sin. If you're watching this show at all, you already know that. Not going to get into it. But I will say, it ruined a little bit. I don't, actually, you know what? I don't think the Futures End storyline ruined this book. I think it was just the idea of this book. It's basically just a summary of Grayson, the life of Grayson, from beginning to end. But we're going to start with the end and go backwards in this book. Page by page. Each scene, different time. Rick actually made a good point.
Yes! Victory!
Yes, he did. It is written that way, but it's an easy flow. It is such an easy flow, I believe that if you wanted to, you could actually start with the last page and read backwards and be just fine. Pretty impressive. I will give 2 thumbs up to that. Pretty cool. But I don't like the idea of it. I don't like the idea of the summary of. I don't want to read a quick book like that. If I know about the character, I already know the storyline. Given, yes, the first few pages, the end pages, you obviously don't know that. This is all new information. But you know of Grayson. I don't want to see that summary, and I'm sure it's supposed to be like, oh, shed a tear, this is the life of, this is him. Alright, well, it was one issue. I'm not going to get sappy over it. I don't know what else you're expecting. Whatever, it was fine. It was impressive how it was set up, but overall the story didn't really impress me. Just the way it was set up is what did. So, oh well. But there is something that really got under my skin this week. It is terrible. And if you go on the internet, pretty much everyone says the same thing. And yes, I knew about that, how terrible it was before reading it, but I still was like, you know what? I want to read it anyway. I want to read it. I want to give my own opinion. Well, guess what? I'm agreeing with most of the internet. God hates astronauts. It is terrible. Just to give a very vague description of this, pretty much it is about a world of where there is like animals, horses and such, and rhinoceroses and things like that, more in people form, and NASA pretty much has a strict rule about how you can take off and go to outer space, so on and so forth, something like that. I don't know. I couldn't even concentrate on the actual storyline. It was just absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that you throw in an astronaut that is trying to take off, screw the rules on who can take off and leave this planet, because I'm in love with a chicken, actually gets a chicken and transfers its mind into the body of a woman so he can marry it, and because he wants to make sweet love to it. It is horrific. I get that they're trying to be funny, and no, there is nothing that is graphic. They don't actually do anything in the book. But just the idea of it, that they're trying to make it into a comedy about that, it's disgusting, it's terrible taste. It's just, I want to burn the book. But let's move on to a more wonderful thing called my pick of the week. The names. Wonderful. I was so happy with the way that the story went. Pretty much jumps right in. Very beginning, we are introduced to this man. He's sitting in his office. Guy's there with him, telling him he needs to write his suicide note. Forces him into it. Guy commits suicide. But why? What happened? What made this guy do this? How was he influenced to commit suicide? And everything just starts exploding. His wife doesn't believe it, and that's what really gets the whole story rolling, is his wife. His wife is so determined to find out. She knows her husband. She knows that he didn't, just up and do this. This is not the type of person he is. Starts opening doors, and it's just absolutely fantastic. Every page just keeps you going. So I highly recommend it. It's a good story to hop on with if you need something new to read, new storyline. Definitely recommend it. But let's go ahead and let's move on and see what Rick has to say for this week.
Alright. Clearly, Elle has some interesting opinions on her interesting books for this interesting week. I have less interesting opinions. My books are somewhat interesting. It's a lot of interest. First, that's the vegetable. Alright. Sex. Issue 15. Collector's Item issue 15, which I am always an adorant of. Whenever a comic book is a collector's item, or whenever somebody decrees it to be such, I always find that hilarious. So, I didn't get this book last week. It just was left off my pile, but that's okay. I was able to read it this week. I love quiet books where not a whole lot happens. I feel that sometimes it's important that, sometimes a day in a life is story. Sex has a few of these. This is one of them. I guess, if anything, it's a really good jumping on point for new readers, because there's a lot of new things going on. There's a bringing in, I can't think of the word, a reimagining, I don't know, that's not right. The old man comes back, he returns. God, I couldn't think of the word returns, it's terrible. The old man returns, and we finally start moving the storyline forward. I'd mentioned in the last issue of Sex that things were really starting to progress. In this issue, this is sort of like alright, come and get some. This is where you want to be. Come on in. Let's do the sex dance. I'm sticking with that. Next on the list, whoop, Uber. Uber number 17 to be exact. I only make noises about Uber now. I spoke to Gillen on the Twitters again. What do you want? What? Read Uber! Do you like awesome war stories? Are you interested in seeing horribly gruesome things happening to human bodies? Do you like science fiction? What do I need to tell you in order for you to continue to read this book? Go get it. Go get it. I'll wait for you to go get a copy. Hopefully you paused, and now you're gonna go get a copy, and now you're back. Alright, you ready, Uber? Yeah, let's get it right. Yeah, alright. But, let's get the little icon to appear. Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. I can't believe I'm gonna say this. It's Moon Knight number 7. Who would have thought? Warren Ellis is off the book, we know this. Moon Knight. Pick of the week. So why is this so good? Well, Brian Wood is a fabulous writer. If you weren't aware, he's had a lot of great stuff. I definitely recommend checking out all of his library if you can find it. It's good writing, it's interesting writing, and more to the point, we now no longer have the singular storyline per book. Now, I love that. I love the one-shot aspect. But if we're really going to go full bore on this, if we're really going to do ourselves a real storyline, then we got to start somewhere. And this is a great starting point. If you've never read a Moon Knight book before, if you have no idea what the heck I'm talking about, if you just missed out on all of Warren Ellis' run, that's fine. You've got yourself an opportunity to get on board with this book, and it's at issue 7. And it was fabulous. So, small read pile this week, but it is my read pile, my pick of the week, and all of the goodness. Let's go thank some people.
That's the read pile for this week. Rick, who are we thinking?
Whoa! This is the moneymaker. This is what the clicks happen here. You got to be careful with it. We are thanking, although I don't know if they want to be associated with us anymore, Mythicon, the convention here in Orlando, Florida, coming up on September 19th, so just about 2 weeks away. It's going to be held at the Doubletree Hotel, just outside of SeaWorld here in beautiful, probably 94-degree Orlando temperature. So, if you're going to be cosplaying it up, because it's a big event, bring a rain slicker, I suppose, perhaps a change of clothes. Either way, we thank Mythicon for promoting Nerd Up Media, even though they probably aren't overly enthused with my bring-in today. But you know what? I'm still recovering from a head cold and from Bacon Day and from getting the crap beat out of me by all my friends, thanks to you and Christopher Daniels. And you know something, Daniels? Thank you for being a nice person. I don't want him to beat me up too. I got beat up by enough Christopher Daniels.
Live in fear.
Oh, and if you hadn't noticed, the Mythicon logo just sort of appeared. We didn't even bother bringing it in. It's basically, it gets rent. It pays rent. It gets mail. Boom. Anyone else? Did you want to thank anyone this week? I know we rarely ever ask.
Nah.
Well, thank you for watching what has been an interesting episode of The Read File. We'll see you all next week. Until then, Bye.
That's the read pile for this week. Rick, who are we thanking?
Oh, hello. 3. You're adorable with that pile. It's just... Anyway, so we specifically want to thank our good friend... our good friends over at Mythocrate. Mythocrate. I gotta redo this whole thing. Wah, wah, wah. Mythocrate.